Hi, I'm Oliver-H24 and this is Creator Content. In this video, I'm going to share with you all the advice I have on how to pick a unique username that will be memorable and work for your channel. I'll talk about some of the mistakes people make and how you can avoid making the same mistakes yourself. First of all, I've always found it really useful to make a Google Doc and then just list all of the names as they come to me. Then I add words, phrases or ideas that relate to myself or the content that I'm planning to create. So I'm going to start with the things that you might want to avoid when you're picking a name for your channel. Although, with each of these, there are many successful channels where the opposite is true, so don't stress out about it too much. Firstly, if the name that you want is already taken, it's always better to pick a new name rather than to add extra numbers, characters or symbols onto the end of the name that you originally wanted. Obviously it's super disappointing, but it is better to get an original, shorter, catchier name rather than one that's longer and easier to forget. From personal experience, I'd also avoid putting your age into your channel name. Because even if you think your channel's only going to last a couple of videos, it could well last for years. And believe me when I say, that gets more and more awkward the older that you get. Next, I'd avoid making your name too specific to the content that you're planning to create. For example, don't put the name of one specific video game into your channel name. It's highly likely that trends will change and you may end up deciding to expand into other video games. If you're planning on creating serious content or making a business out of your channel in the future, it's probably better to avoid a name that you might be embarrassed of at a later date. While they might be hilarious at the time, immature names might make people take your content less seriously. Obviously, on the other hand, that might be fine depending on the type of content that you plan to make. One last thing to avoid is rushing to pick a name. You might be using it for years to come, so it's definitely worth taking a bit of extra time to ensure you pick something that you're probably not going to end up hating. Now, onto some things that might help. I know I said not to pick something too specific to your content, but if you keep it slightly vague, you might find inspiration in the topic that you're going to cover. Having a channel name that suggests what kind of videos you're going to be making will help potential viewers make a snap decision as to whether they want to check out your channel or not. For example, if I saw a channel called Pizza Wizard, I'd subscribe straight away because I'd be expecting videos about pizza and magic, both of which are awesome. Next, make sure that you say the names you're thinking about out loud. This is to check that even though they look good on paper and sound good in your head, they actually still sound good when spoken out loud. It's also worth considering if you met somebody new and told them your channel name, would they be able to spell it? Or will you have to tell them the name and then proceed to explain how to spell it every time? The simpler your name is, the easier it will be for people to share, remember, and find your channel. Another tip is to try things like rhyming, alliteration, or a play on words, because all of those things are quite catchy and easy to remember. One thing that really helps me if I'm really struggling to think of a name is to Google band name generator or YouTube channel name generator. There are loads of name generators on the internet, but most of what they come up with is total trash and just wouldn't work for a YouTube name. But I find that seeing loads of bad ideas sometimes inspires me to have a good idea. Finally, try telling your friends and family your ideas and consider their feedback. It's super easy to convince yourself that you've thought of something super awesome, but when you check it with a few people, you might realise it's not as good as you thought it was. It's a bit disappointing, but it's always better to check yourself before you Shrek yourself. If you found this video useful, please kick the subscribe button in the face for more content for creators. Hit me up in the comments if you've got any questions, suggestions, or if you disagree with any of the advice that I've given. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.